Hi there, welcome to this week's snack break. Ooh, looks like we got a little feedback. I think we might need you to mute. Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right, sorry, we had a little technical difficulties getting started, so thank you for being patient with us. Today is Wednesday, August 11th, and I am joined by Kathy from Willis. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's actually Katy.
Oh, sorry, Katy. Oh my gosh, my bad. That was.
Everyone does it. I always just say the H is silent.
There you go. Perfect. I will remember it now. I love that. Excellent. Well, great. Well, we're excited to learn about the product that you have today, and I'll let those who are tuning in. We realized there was so much to speak about to try and cover both the Korean product and the one that you're going to be seeing today. That we'll probably end up breaking these into two snack breaks. So we're just going to be focusing on one of those products today. So if you have additional questions though about those, we will also make sure that you can get in contact with Katy and she can help you out with that. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, and please feel free to use the chat that you'll see on the right-hand side as we go through the presentation today. If you have any questions, drop those in there, and then I'll read them out as we're going through. And if we don't get to them right away, we'll save a little time at the end. But I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties. But today we're going to talk about Lapitec. First of all, I just wanted to introduce my company. It's Willis. We consider ourselves curators of premium design materials. And with the addition of Lapitec, which we're going to talk about today, we offer both solutions for both interior and exterior applications. Let's see. As you can see, we have a portfolio of products to use in all kinds of areas. Our tagline, Inspire, Educate, Solve, and Supply, speaks to the fact that Willis is here, not just to provide products, but to help you sort through them. We want to help you find the right solution to whatever problem you're designing for. A few years back, I went through the Oregon State University Master Gardeners program, and we learned two basic tenets to gardening that boils down to two things, and I think they apply here as well. First of all, if you want to grow something without working too hard at it, it is all about right plant, right place. That is the phrase you hear over and over again. And two, you do not have to have all the answers. With all the plant varieties, soil types, blah, 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 it's impossible. You just need to know where to get information, and you need to know which sources of information you can trust. And I think that kind of relates to what designers do. It's impossible to know everything about every material. It's overwhelming to think about all the things you have to specify. So at Willis, we just want to be your reputable source of information, and we want to help you specify the right product for the right application.
It's awesome. I love that. And I love that analogy with the garden. That makes so much sense.
My garden, which is currently out there roasting.
No.
So today we're going to talk about Lapitec sintered stone and why we're excited to have this in our portfolio now. It's made by a company called Breton Group, and it's this Italian company. They have like over 300 patents around the world. They produce equipment and technology for manufacturers like Boeing and Airbus. They also happen to be the people who created the technology to create quartz countertops. So they are the reason that quartz countertops exist. That was a new market that they produced. So any reputable brand of quartz out there, like Cambria, Caesar Stone, even Korean quartz, it's all made on Breton equipment because they designed this thing and then they sold it, to whoever wanted to use it. So now they've created this new material category called sintered stone, and the big difference here between this and quartz is that Breton's going to retain the patents and technology. So at this point, they are the exclusive source for true sintered stone. You will hear other products be called sintered material, that just refers to the firing process, but sintered stone is a new material type, and the key factor in determining that is that the process can be completely broken down into a natural state and reprocessed. So in other words, it's reversible. Any factory waste created is recovered and used in subsequent products. Sintering is the process of compacting and forming a solid mass of material using pressure and heat. So sintering happens in manufacturing, like metals, ceramics, that sort of thing, but it also happens in natural mineral deposits. It's how metamorphic stone is made. Minerals are subjected to high heat and pressure deep within the Earth's surface, and some examples of that are marble, substone, slate, and it's this process that Breton has essentially replicated and in some ways improved on, and they've sped it up. So you don't have to wait a million years to get your current process. So the process for manufacturing is incredibly clean. It's clean enough that their factory in northern Italy is next door to a certified organic free-range dairy farm.
Wow.
Yeah. Lapitec is 100% natural minerals. It's made from things like feldspar and kaolin, the same things you'd find in porcelain or ceramic clay, but instead of a printed layer or a glaze, it's just colored with natural metal oxide pigments. So there's nothing printed on the surface, and there are no binders, and there's no resins. Another exciting aspect of it is that a handful of their colors are silica-free, and by the end of 2021, their goal is that everything in their line will be silica-free.
Wow.
So for people who don't know, silica is a silicate mineral like asbestos that becomes airborne when you cut into the stone. It's inherent in quartz, and you know, it's not a problem for the end user, but for the poor people, fabricating it, you definitely want that to be silica free. And then on here is also just some of the certificates that are available, so people can always reach out to me for those, and they I guess are on the source site as well. So sintered stone is made in a 3-step process. The first step is to take powdered raw minerals and filter them, and then they're compacted under a vacuum into this really tough, dense slab. So they're just taking minerals and vibrating them and compressing them at the same time. Those slabs already at that point are strong enough to store vertically without them falling apart. Yeah, it's crazy. So then you go to the firing process, or sintering, and it takes those powdered particles and it fuses them together under high heat. Doesn't melt them, but it's hot enough to get the molecules moving and causing them to bind together. So that molecular bond is so strong that you don't need any resins, you don't need any binding agents. You know, it's not like quartz where you have polyester binds it all together. This doesn't have anything like that in it. And then the last thing is it can just be finished like natural stone. So it can go anywhere from a super high gloss to a super textured bush hammered. Basically anything you do with stone, you can do with Lapitec. Yeah. So when you think about it, when we say Lapitec is full bodied, think about Lapitec's the carrot, everything else is the apple. So porcelains, those sort of things are full bodied in that the color goes all the way through, whereas Lapitec is full bodied in that the color and the veining goes all the way through. So whatever you see on the surface is all the way through the material. And this is a good example here. You can see where they put just a simple edge detail, and you can see that the vein goes all the way through. With the porcelain, looks beautiful on the top. There's some really realistic porcelains out there. However, as soon as you look at the edge detail, you can tell that it's not real stone.
It's a great example.
And then this is just another example of how it can be machined and milled down. They put this cool corrugated surface on it, and you can see that veining runs throughout, and they haven't lost it at all. Performance properties are pretty great. So it is thermal shock and impact resistant. So basically that means you can take, a heavy cast iron skillet directly off the stove top and set it on top of it. You're not going to have any scorching or shattering, anything like that.
Amazing.
It's non-combustible. It's highly scratch resistant. It goes between like a 6 and a 7 on the Mohs scale.
Oh, wow.
and it's UV stable. And so those are some of the things that it has in common with stone. Differences with stone are that it is non-porous, so unlike natural stone. So you can work with it like natural stone, but unlike natural stone, you don't have to seal it, and you don't ever have to worry about it staining or that sort of thing. And because of that, it's antibacterial, because there's just no place for bacteria and virus to hide out. It comes in 3 sizes, a 12, 20, and 30 millimeter, or for people like me who prefer inches, a half inch, a little less than a half inch, a little over 3/4 of an inch, and a little over 1 inch.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so we get to the fun part. So there is a multitude of finishes available in Lapitec. Everything from a super highly polished to a heavily bush hammered. So if you go on Lapitec's website, you're going to see all of those. But in North America, what we are stocking is the luxe and the satin finish, except for the Nero Assoluto, which will be available in the Voluto finish, which has a fine texture on it. Those other finishes are available, but they're coming from Italy, so it is a special order, and for some of it, there are quantity minimums, so just keep that in mind. The Essenza collection is kind of your workhorse colors. They're very useful. They range from a bright white, some beautiful earth tones, to that pure black. And then some of them have a little bit of a speckle tone, like the Grigio Piombo and the Nero Anthracite. The Arabiscata collection is a non-controlled veining material, and what that means is that every slab is going to look different. The Michelangelo is kind of a cooler color, while the Perlet is a warmer white.
Pretty. And 2 finishes, you said, on that, right?
Yeah, satin and luxe on those. So, and the luxe being a high gloss. Gotcha. And then the Musa collection consists of Bianco Aurora, Bianco Elettra, and Bianco Vittoria. The Aurora and Vittoria are controlled vein material. So what that means is you can book match them because the vein is controlled. If that's something you're wanting to do, though, you need to make sure that that gets called out in your spec really clearly, because the fabricator is going to want to order slabs sequential. They need to come from the same group.
Perfect. That's a good tip to remember. It's one of those things that it's easy to leave off, and then you realize, oh no.
Right. Whoops. These don't look right. Okay, so we're going to look at some applications, and it's kind of funny that I, made a big deal of talking about right material, right application, because actually Lapitec can be used just about anywhere. For horizontal applications, it makes great countertops and floors. It gets used for wall cladding. Because we talked about it being non-porous, it's not susceptible to freeze thaw. It moves easily outside, where it can be used for roofing, which I guess happens in Europe quite a bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then also outside, it gets used for facades and fire pit areas. People do a lot of stairs with it, and that's both inside or outside. If you're going to do it outside, you might want to look at some of the rougher textures, just for slip resistance. But I can certainly provide all that testing if need be.
So it's sorry, question for I saw fire pits on here, and we've also seen like applications around fireplaces too, right? Because it is, you said, naturally like heat resistant. Is there anything to note about that in terms of those? Because that could be a tricky area to find a good material for.
Yeah, no, it is highly appropriate. Shouldn't have any issues with it. Again, you would just specify it like you would natural stone.
Yep.
I mean, it's not going to start to fail because it got too hot, that sort of thing. So yeah,
awesome.
easy peasy. It does have a level of chemical resistance, so it's warranted in pools. It's also warranted in steam showers, which you don't get a lot of in commercial settings.
Yeah.
But having come from the tile world, I know that it's hard sometimes to find things that are warranted in those sorts of applications, and this is. And then the last area is it gets used for paving. and I think more and more we're going to find that obviously people wanting outdoor areas. So, you can use it for large format pavers. And again, you might want to look at what the finish is on it for slip resistance. But its UV resistance also makes it a good option for outdoor kitchens. And then where I'm getting a lot of interest for it is because it's non-combustible and because it's chemical and stain resistant. People are looking at it for laboratory worktops.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's such an elegant, sophisticated material that you don't really think about it.
Yeah.
In those sorts of settings, but it's absolutely a perfect application for it. Pricing is going to run, and this is all just raw materials. This doesn't include, it's customary for fabricators to mark up material. This doesn't include that. It doesn't include, installation or fabrication, but just raw materials. It's going to start at $17 a square foot. Okay. Which I think is a pretty good price for what you're getting. So, yeah, and that's everything. I feel like I talked really fast.
I was great. No, you were super efficient with the time, and really a really cool product. It was something that I was not familiar with, so I was looking forward to learning more about this. So if anybody who is joining today, we've got a couple minutes for questions. Haven't seen anything come through yet, but let us know if there's more that you would like us to expand on or share with you. We do have a question here. They ask if you could talk a little more about where the product is manufactured and the materials, where they're being sourced from.
So it is manufactured in Italy. They are, I'm going to be real honest, I don't know where they are sourcing every ingredient they put in it, but I do know that it's manufactured in northern Italy, and it's certainly something I can do some research on. I would imagine they're probably getting the minerals either locally, because Italy does have a huge stone quarry. Mm-hmm. So I would assume that is where they're getting it, either Italy or Spain, someplace like that. But I can certainly do some research if somebody wants to give me an email address.
Yeah.
So when I find it.
Yeah, we can definitely pass that along and get you guys connected about that. So great question. Perfect. Well, I don't see any more that have come in, but I'm really excited to be able to have learned more about this product. And I think it's a really, really cool option and very unique. So thank you so much for your time. Again, sorry everyone for our little late start, but I hope you all were able to learn something new today. So I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we will be back next week, the same time, with another snack break.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks all. Bye.
Bye-bye.